Welcome to the HR Empowerment Podcast, where we will uncover strategies and new insights from HR professionals who discuss up-to-date regulations, best practices, and the most pressing topics like diversity and equity, leadership, dealing with difficult situations, and much more that affect your bottom line and business. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Wendy Sellers here, the HR lady, with JC, my co-host.
Aloha.
And our special guest, Erica Martinez-Rose from Tech Rage IT.
Hey.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Hey, Erica, as the CEO, the CEO, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, who do you think is responsible for employee connection and engagement?
Ultimately, it starts at the top. I think it's being a really small team. I think it's so important that we as a team, as the executives, figure out ways to make sure we're communicating and we're engaging our team members. And it's a struggle because we're trying to grow the business, but we need to make sure the people who are actually in the day-to-day grind feel involved. Welcomed, engaged, because they're the front line. So it doesn't matter what we do as executives if we don't have a team to support our clients. We don't have a business.
You would think that would be pretty obvious, right? But you'd be surprised how many businesses don't get that and have turnover because of that, and then have bad reviews all over the internet because of that. No matter what your size is, it does start at the top, and you can't have these secret conversations in big companies with the secret leadership team and, roll out these initiatives, but never really explain it to every other layer of management and team leads. Super important.
And we're small right now where we don't have middle management. Mm-hmm. And that's something that my partner and I really need to be strategic about and very intentional about, because eventually we're going to get more and more not disconnected, but we're just going to have so much layers in between that we want to make sure it trickles down, like you said.
Yeah, there's this chart that I use in some of my trainings when I'm talking about emotional intelligence and empathy, and I forget who it's from, but it's a chart, a graph, and it shows that the further you get away from the front line as a manager, you are testing and seen as having less empathy and less emotional intelligence. And it's because you're dealing with numbers and budgets and plans, and you're not dealing with people. You're not dealing with your people, so maybe your customers might think that you're great, but your people are like, this person has no clue what's going on, and they're not, empathetic to me. So everyone who's listening today, if you've got even just one supervisor under you, you need to know that you need to step up the game and stay in the game, and not throw that all on the managers and the supervisors and the team leads. What do you think, JC?
Interestingly, with employee engagement too, in that type of scenario, depending on the environment that you're fostering, you could actually wind up receiving positive feedback from those people in the front lines. If they're feeling disenfranchised, or if they have a great idea on how to improve something, depending on the way that you are within your culture, and also explaining a little bit how things do change the further up the food chain is, and you leave that door open and you truly emphasize that it isn't just the proverbial door that's open. My door is literally open. Like during the day, I'm not locking it. I'm working from home. Just walk in the front door. No, don't do that. Yeah. Please don't walk in my house. Now, jokes aside, though, let them know they can come to you with the ideas, or the responsible parties along the way throughout that chain, right? You could receive amazing feedback that takes that engagement level to new heights right then and there, just by reinforcing the fact that you are vulnerable, open to communication, and you hear them. It's a tact, should you decide.
Absolutely. I want to read this from it's a company called octanner.com, and they did a global cultural report this year. And the funny thing, this article that I'm looking at, it says engagement is not a measure of actual work. And it goes on to say, ask 4 different people at any organization what engagement means, and you're likely to get 4 different answers. Some leaders say it defines effort. Some HR leaders were saying it's the KPI of employee effort that senior leaders care about. Other people said it depends on how happy employees are. Employees said it was about how the work was done. So it's just so interesting. Like, these terms are so generic. Yeah. And so, the biggest thing I want our listeners to hear today is that when you're talking about employee engagement and you're talking about employee connection, productivity, whatever it is, define what that means to the people sitting in that conversation. Because if you came from another company, it may mean something else. Typically, highly engaged employees do not just their work, but they do work that's outside their job descriptions because they care about the job and they care about the company. However, what we're seeing nowadays, and I don't like the term quiet quitting, I actually despise that term. What we are seeing now, though, is people are saying, you know what, I'm doing my job and I'm doing it well, and then I'm going home. And I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't think that should, we should label somebody as unengaged because they're doing their job. What are your thoughts, Erica, JC?
I agree. We have a culture of, again, being very productive during your shift because we want our employees to go home on time. We don't want them working after hours. However, there is an understanding that we are in the service industry. We do have responsibilities for on-call or after hours. But we set those expectations from the beginning, and normally IT professionals understand that they right. do know there's going to be after hours work because of the nature of the business. One thing we are very firm on is being on time, going to lunch on time, coming back from lunch on time, but you go home on time too. So that's where we are. Is we're a small team, and again, our clients are depending on us. So those core hours are very important. But again, we want them to go home and not fear taking time off. That's something that we're trying to give them time off. Like, take it.
Yeah, you don't want them burnt out.
No, not at all. And that's something that we're being more intentional about of, okay, the holidays are coming. What are you guys what are you doing? Don't wait till the last day to take your time off, because then we can't have everybody off. Look at the quarter. What day do you want to take off? And encourage them and let them know it's okay.
Yeah, it really is. Be surprised. You don't have to ask me twice to take a day off. But that took me a long time, really, till recently, to be quite honest, to learn, because I am a workaholic. I like what I do. And I really do like vacation, though. And I'm sure other people do, too. But other people may say, I don't have time or the money to go on vacation. But you don't need to get on a plane and go somewhere. You can just take a day off and, relax in your pool, your backyard, or on the ski slopes if you're up north. Go ahead, JC.
Yeah, no, this one's going to be a question to both of you, actually, because both of you are strong women running your own businesses. When do you take time off? That's the question. When do you step away?
It does sound very hypocritical of me of telling people take time off and we don't.
I do.
I'm so jealous. What's the secret? Because, this is what we got into. We're trying to grow our business, and it's a give and take. We're really trying to stop working on the weekends. Yep. That's to me my vacation right now and my baby step. And then again, we just want to make sure that our team is set up to be successful, be autonomous, so we can step away from them. Right now it's that fear of leaving and they don't have all the answers. But we have to leave to make sure that we can see if they know all the answers. So
Right.
it's kind of that give and take of doing that. One thing we're cognizant of is not sending emails after hours, not sending team messages after hours, trying to schedule those so they go out during business hours. Because we don't want to set that example of, we're just always working, and then, everyone has tools on their phone. We don't want them to feel obligated to respond. So that's something we're trying to be careful about.
Awesome. Well, let me just tell you real quick how I got into taking time off, and it was definitely post the major part of COVID, because like you, I own my own business, and I'm a team of one with a few contractors, and so I always feel like, oh, my customers need me 24/7. Well, it turns out my customers, the remaining customers aren't jerks, and they understand that I am a human and have a life. And so I fired some clients that were abusing me, and it was the best thing ever. And then I put it on my calendar that, nope, I'm going to be taking these days off. And then I tell my friends and who could hold me accountable, because nobody else can. So that's, very important to plan it and put it on your calendar, share it with somebody, and then let your employees, your coworkers, your partners, whoever, hold you accountable with that. All right, so we have one more session of this podcast that I want to talk a little bit more about advice for companies who are just diving into engagement and connection programs. We'll be right back.
Thank you for joining the HR Empowerment Podcast, brought to you by Aurora Training Advantage. We hope you've gained new insight and strategies to navigate the HR profession. We look forward to you joining us again on the HR Empowerment Podcast.